Lionel and Patrick, what a pair, thinking outside the box. They don't play fair, unconventional ways, breaking all the rules, making their own path, never following the fools. Unconventional playbook, rewriting the game. Lionel and Patrick, they'll never be the same, dancing to their own beat in a world so plain. Unconventional playbook, they're here to entertain. Lionel's a dreamer with stars in his eyes. Patrick's a schemer with tricks in disguise. Together they're unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with. Their unconventional playbook, they'll never be second. Unconventional playbook, rewriting the game. Lionel and Patrick, they'll never be the same, dancing to their own beat in a world so plain. Unconventional playbook, they're here to entertain. Against all odds they stand tall, through highs and lows they never fall. Lionel and Patrick, a duo so rare, with their unconventional playbook, they're always there. Unconventional playbook, rewriting the game. Lionel and Patrick, they'll never be the same, dancing to their own beat in a world so plain. Unconventional playbook, they're here to entertain.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome, UP Nation. Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook with my guy in the house, Mr. Patrick Buchanan. Pat, what's up, man? How's your day been?
Man, my day good, man. It's Thursday. It's one more day for the weekend. Been enjoying watching my soccer team, man. These young men, they really can play. So they one win away from the conference championship. So I'm excited about that. So new coach, I told him about the team, right? He knew about it, but after the first 6 games, 3-3, they're on the 8-game winning streak right now. So, and I think we got the best player in our class in the state. So it's pretty exciting, man.
That's good, man. A lot of exciting things happening at your place. We just almost have a full week of practice in at my place. Team is looking good right now, working real hard. You know, that first week, you're always trying to iron out all the wrinkles and try to figure out what's what. But I got a lot of great women that play basketball for me. So it's going to be interesting. We got our first exhibition October 12th. And then we'll have another exhibition October 25th. And then after Christmas, you know, we're really looking forward to playing Northern Illinois University. So at Northern Illinois, that'll be a big challenge for us. But you know, the team that I got this year can accomplish anything. You know, I know a lot of them watch the show. So what's up, ladies? So we'll see what happens, you know. But, you know, now we here to talk football. You know, for some people, Saturday starts the weekend. And then for some people, Friday starts the weekend. Thursday starts the weekend for football fans. You got Thursday night football, Giants and the Cowboys playing right now. The great thing about today's show is that we got Patrick's pick. So UP Nation, stick around. Halfway through, we'll get to Patrick's picks. You know, he's going to try to make you a little bit of money. But first, we want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, the 3-0 Minnesota Vikings. Daunting task this weekend with the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. You know, I think it's an advantage for us to have Green Bay at Lambeau when the weather's nice. So, Pat, give me your insight. I know you've been thinking about the game, you know, kind of looking at some things about the game. Recap your thoughts. What do you think the Vikings are going to do this weekend?
Well, first and foremost, before I dive into that, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting a phone call right now from somebody who is a Packer fan. He's headed up to Lambeau this weekend. He's a Badger fan. He's a Packer fan. I ain't said nothing to him all fall about his Wisconsin. He's giving me a call. I'll call him back after we're done broadcasting. So first thing I want to talk about is, like, you guys can be playing this game, you know, and about who you're going to start. Like, you know,
I knew you were going to go there.
Like, I'm going to start there because I'm going to start there, right? And there's this reality, and I know he's a smart coach, and he, knowing that Minnesota's like 5+ sacks every game, knowing the top front 7 that we got, if only 3 weeks out from that sprain, he's not going to put him out there, right? You got to chalk this up, and you know, I respect you as a coach and all, but let's be honest, you're not bringing him out here versus this defense, and that's something I know. Like, if you bring him out there, then you're like, they're gonna crucify you. You paying that man $200 and some million, man, he's not coming out there for this game, right?
Yeah.
So gets me to the reality of the game, right? And start always with our defense. We know that Malik Willis can't pass the ball. Malik Willis is about to see something that Indianapolis and Tennessee's defense cannot display. And this is where you might want to try to run the ball, but I don't know if that's really going to happen, right? I know what we're prepared for Josh Jacobs and Malik Willis really is like taking it away from them too, right? The game plan kind of made it a little easier for Flores in that sense, right? I'll love it when we get to play Jordan Love fully healthy, but that's probably not going to be the case this week. So,
Right.
Hounding on the defense, the confusion that this young man is going to see out there, I think was going to lead to us grasping more takeaways. I believe that they're just going to try to pound Josh Jacobs, try to use the screen game, some draws, some whatever in there, trickery when it comes to the run game. And I think that's going to leave them one-dimensional, and versus this defense, that's just them pinning their ears back nonstop in a one-dimensional. And then when you do try to throw it, I think he's going to be a lot confused out there, highly confused out there as a young man going up against this defense. In a sense, he can go out there and play free and play with house money. But I don't know how much house money you want to play with the Flores' defense. I want to stay on the defensive end before I jump to the offensive end. I think this is, another week, right? I think they're going to let the young man is going to get some plays, Dallas Turner, but I think he gets to get another sack coming into this game. Obviously, Gink probably will get, if you try to throw something quick, he might get a pick six. You never know, right? He should have a couple of them, but it is what it is. I just think the defense is going to be too stout for him, Coach, just to start when you're talking about the defense. They have the offensive weapons and everything, but that's not Jordan Love back there. And they are lucky to be 2-2 right now, or 2-1 right now. But, they're probably about to be 2-2 after this game. I know I picked healthy, like I picked Green Bay to win this game when I made my picks, but there's not going to be a Jordan Love back there. And if Jordan Love was to play this game, I still think the Minnesota Vikings would win just because he shouldn't be back there and he's worth way too much money to play this game. Like, it's one just cough up, live to fight another day.
This is Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Patrick Buchanan in the house. Honestly, man, I am probably the most skeptical person on the planet. Like, when I go through my picks, I really take my time and try to digest information. And I'm telling you right now, this is not being a homer. This is not being a super Vikings fan. What I'm saying to you is gospel from my heart. I don't see any way that the Packers can win this game unless something out of the ordinary happens. If the Vikings defense shows up like it's been showing up the last 3 weeks, which I think it will, defense travels. You always hear that term, defense travels. Plus, it's a rivalry game. I think there's going to be a lot of guys on the Vikings defense, like you said, that are going to have their ears pinned back. For me, it doesn't matter who plays, because if you go with Jordan Love, it means that you've rushed him back.
Yes.
And the confidence in his mobility to be able to move around in the pocket is not going to be there. That's going to affect throws. That's going to affect his mental preparation. Now, keep in mind, he hasn't seen, that speed for a couple of weeks, people trying to tear his head off. He hasn't seen that. You need to have those game reps, and he just hasn't had that. And then the young buck that is playing instead of Love, Mr. Willis, it's like this guy is going to be taught football 101, because he's going to see things if he plays that he's just never seen before. And I don't see a situation. I don't care how good of a coach LaFleur is. And like you said, I respect him as a coach. I respect him as a play caller. What he has done in the last 2 weeks for the Green Bay Packers, these last 2 weeks probably saved their season. You know, these 2 wins are going to come back and help them in the end. But now I think their luck runs out because B-Flow has shown an aptitude to be able to rattle people, especially young quarterbacks. He has shown a propensity to be able to get into the space of non-mobile quarterbacks, which Jordan Love will be on Sunday if he plays. So the only way I think Green Bay can beat the Vikings is if something out of the ordinary happens, and that starts with Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold throws a pick six, if there's some sort of special team return by the Green Bay Packers, that's what I'm talking about, something out of the ordinary. I just don't see the Green Bay Packers being able to score enough points to hang with the number 2 offense in the NFL right now in Sam Darnold. So I look at the Vikings being able to crush the Packers this game.
Yeah, when you go to the offensive end, and I'm going to take part of the defenses, I think they're going to have some fantastic field position in this game because of what the defense is going to do. But I also think 2 things, right? Alexander's gotta be careful of what he wants to say out loud, Jair. And you think you can shut JJ down. Like JJ mentioned to him today, he was like, all I'm care about is being in the end zone doing the giddy, right? So
That's right.
Besides that, it'd be a good game. I think that's going to be a factor, and that's going to be intentional since he wanted to speak. But I also think, like you talked about last game with JG and getting those sacks, right? We understand that they cut Aaron Jones. That's
Yes.
going to be intentional to get that man in the end zone, especially on the ground, right? I do believe that he might catch some in the air, but I think he might get 2 of them on the ground. I think it might be intentional to get him at least 2 touchdowns on the ground, give him that opportunity to go do his Lambeau leap back in that place. I just think it's one of them games where, where we are in sync with the coaching staff. I just think that everything is hitting on all cylinders. I think Sam is going to have a 250 game, right? And I do believe it will be a 250 and at least 2 touchdowns, which in first 4 games, 10 touchdowns, fantastic. But I think the trenches is where we're gonna establish everything at with the run game and let Aaron Jones get a little loose. I believe the defense is going to get tired because they're going to be on the field a lot more than they're used to. So that's going to wear them down. If we can come strike in the first 2 quarters and not have a dead quarter in those 2 quarters, it could be a 3-score game at by halftime, which they come out pinning their ears back and really get after it in the second half. So I just think, they're as good as their defense is playing. They played against, Anthony Richardson, who's now looking like a super struggle right now.
Yeah.
After missing all them games last year. And Will Levis, who probably shouldn't even be playing quarterback in the NFL. Like right now, like Malik Willis, you should have kept. So, because I don't know what the hell Will Levis is over there doing. So I think they're just going up that if the rivalry's there, so the intensity of the game is going to be there. But I think you're different with a different monster right now. When it comes to personnel out there and how they're feeling as a group right now. If you ask me to score the game, I tell you 27-10, right? So that would be my final, 27-10. I know we're underdogs again, and that's something that you probably should stop doing, especially because look, Coach, this is where I'm at with it, right? And this is how I feel disrespected. So Houston Texans and the 49ers came into our house, right?
Yep.
And we were underdogs, and they were in the top 5 before we played them, top 5 power rankings, right?
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings are number 3 power ranked team now. That's where they're putting them, number 3.
Yeah.
But we're still underdogs on the road. Like it's still a disrespect that you're doing, and that's fine. I want them to disrespect 17 games and then disrespect in the playoffs, right? Because I think it's a fantastic thing that, like, great mojo, great motivation. Like, you know, us as coaches, right? The one thing that I thrived for, and sometimes I'd make shit up, coach. I ain't even gonna lie. It was bulletin board material. Let me find bulletin board material to motivate, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say it, I lied to my team a lot of times about the other team, something they said, like, because they know I knew a lot of people. So I just make up stuff and lie. And sometimes it turned crazy during the game because they'd be saying stuff that never really happened.
Right.
And I was like, hey, it's a mindset. However I motivate my team, I motivate them. I don't think all it is they're motivated and they're fueled by everything in the off season, and all you're doing is adding extra, right? Green Bay's probably like, man, why did y'all favor us in that game? You know, like, it's just extra motivation on it. And that's something that they've been thriving on in the first 3 weeks. And I love it. And it's good for them to be, you know, to have this feeling and being able to go. But I'm super happy that it's supposed to be a beautiful day out there Sunday, man. Something I didn't know that I got to learn about Lambeau Field, Coach, is like, so like why it's so loud in ours, we're more compact, where Green Bay, when they renovated, their stadium goes outward where ours more sits in.
Right.
So that's less noise, is more of an echo than a thunderous noise. I heard that today and I was like, oh, that's so y'all really can't get us to jump off sides and stuff because your noise is moving in a different way. So yeah, man, this is just a dominating all around game. If Jordan Love was playing, it would be a completely different, but that's a major loss. And you've already put Malik on two tapes for Flores. You gave Flores two films, you know, to really show you do. And no matter what, you can't just snap a switch and automatically this man is able to pass the ball. We already know he's not going to pass the ball much in what you're going to try to do with him. You're going to try to give him the run, some yards for you. And it's just, I think this is just one of them. It's okay, right? Because you're not at full strength, and we know what that's like last year. But this is a defensive dominated game, like I've said the whole time.
Yeah, he can pass the ball if he wants. He won't be too successful doing that if they go with that game plan. That's for sure. I think you hit the nail dead on the head, Pat, when you talked about Aaron Jones and, you know, how he left Green Bay and what his motivation is going to be. That plays a big part with that man on Sunday. That's a lot of pride. That's a lot of trying to get that respect back and say I'm here when you go through that, because he gave the Green Bay Packers some good years, and then they just kind of threw him out with the trash and they brought in a brand new toy. And so he's going to be out to prove that he's better than that new toy that they brought in. And he renamed the Lambeau Leap. He's not going to do. You mentioned he may do the Lambeau Leap. He renamed it, right?
Yeah, what did he rename it to, Coach?
Oh, he said when he goes to Lambeau and if he scores a touchdown, he renamed it the Bank Vault because of U.S. Bank Stadium. So he named it the Bank Vault. So he said he was mad last week because he scored the touchdown and he forgot to do it at U.S. Bank Stadium. But he said he will not forget this week. So expect Aaron Jones to have a big game. I'm gonna push back a little bit on something you said. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I think this is what's great about this show. I agree with you. I think the Minnesota Vikings have been overlooked. They've been overlooked from the start of the season, even now since they've won, these last two games against arguably one of the favorites in the AFC and the Texans, and then arguably one of the favorites in the NFC in the San Francisco 49ers. People were out there saying, well, your Jets win really wasn't that impressive. I mean, not the Jets, the Giants, I'm sorry. Your Giants win wasn't really that impressive because it's the New York Giants. So you said, okay, well, wait to San Francisco. They beat San Francisco. Well, wait to the Texans. They beat the Texans. Now they're underdogs with the Green Bay Packers. Here's what I'm going to say. I think the Vikings are going to crush Green Bay because they're just not equipped to deal with the Minnesota Vikings. And I've been quiet at work. All my Packer coworkers been talking a lot of stuff. I've just been sitting like this in my office. I haven't said a word. They've been talking about, well, Jordan Love may come back. We go do this. I just been sitting like this, Pat. Because I don't got to talk. I know B-Flow and KOC got my back. I know what this team is about. But I'm going to say this about the Vikings. The one thing that I'm surprised about, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate, and I'm not trying to throw water on anybody's fire. I love the way the Minnesota Vikings are playing. They're 3-0. I believe that they're going to be 4-0 after this weekend. What I am surprised about is all of the Super Bowl talk, all of the NFC championship talk. And I know the Vikings are playing good. And again, I'm not trying to rain on their parade, but man, don't we need to see a little bit more? Like, as I mentioned to you, like last podcast, Vikings are playing well. And I don't think we've seen a Vikings team with this kind of chemistry before, with this type of leadership. We haven't seen that. But what we have seen in the past is a lot of these winning streaks, whether it's a 3-game winning streak, 5-game winning streak. We've seen this over the years, and somehow, some way, the Minnesota Vikings seem to always give it back at some point. And so my whole thing is, I love what they're doing right now. I am, and Pat, I'm even hearing talk already, because you listen to podcasts and you listen to sports talk shows. I'm hearing, we should lock Sam Darnold up now with a multi-year contract. What would we get for J.J. McCarthy on the market if we traded him? And I'm just like, whoa. We're 3-0. We're gonna be 4-0 after Sunday. But man, we can't go crazy, man. We can't go crazy right now.
No, we can't.
We can enjoy the product that's on the field. Like, I just don't think we've seen enough evidence yet that this is anything more than a really good team. Like, if the Vikings are still playing this way, Pat, after like week 8, man, I'm on board. But we still have a long way to go to prove what type of team we're going to be, and should we be in the conversation of being a Super Bowl team? What are your thoughts about that?
I just think that's super premature. Like I've said on every podcast, right? Don't get too high, don't get too low on what you see, taking one game at a time. Someone was trying to talk to me about stuff today. And I said, all I'm thinking about is, Green Bay Packers week 4.
That's right.
Right. And I think that's where the mindset of they are. Like, I find that when people do that, whether that's another podcast or whatever, I just feel like that's over emotional fan. Right.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to have been in certain situations when it comes to sports and coaching or an athlete where, you have a different mindset. And my viewership as a fan is going to take it one game at a time. There's things that we talked about, like I asked you a question about what we want to see better in them, right? They're not a finished product yet.
Yeah.
And they know they're not a finished product. And the coaches know, KOC knows they're not a finished product. 3 weeks means nothing, man. There's teams that start off 6-0 and then lose, 9 out of the next 11, right? It means like nothing. It's one at a time. It's progressing, right? He's always, since he got here, talked about 1%, right? And all 3 phases, they're trying to get the 1% better. So I'm not going to be the one. I'm never going to do that. Even at week 8, I'm not going to do it. When we lock up division, if we lock it up, we get the opportunity to lock up division. We get the opportunity to lock up home field. Things like that happen, the conversation will come about, right? I want to stay in enjoying every moment, because here's the thing as a fan, because of how much I've been through as a fan for 20 years now, is I've learned how not to, this is why I feel like I can be objective to them, right? How I can, because I never let them get me here because of how great we're doing, but I never let them get me down here either, Coach, when those heartbreaks and disappointments. So
Yep.
I've learned how to just stay in the middle with it. Now, don't get me wrong. When we like I'm celebrating and excited
Oh,
when they win, but then
same here.
I'm evaluating after a win, right? I'm evaluating. I'm like, okay, well, here's what I see. Here's what's coming up. Like, we got to fix this. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to take it. I'm trying to progress and go through this season as they're going through it, one game at a time. Look at the opponent, not once. Like, I haven't said yet that called a W yet. I mean, I projected one in my picks for week one, but I haven't got on a podcast saying whatever because I still respect who they are in the Green Bay Packers, right? Do I think we're a better team than them? Yes, but we have to go out and show it for the fourth straight week that we're the better team that steps on the field. Um, I do think we are, but I'm going to respect how that defense has been playing, even if it's been against the Colts and even if it's been against the Texans, right? I'm not going to disrespect that. All of them strapping up, putting the helmet on, so they're playing the same game. So I respect them, but I do believe if we're playing in all three phases the right way, that it is a 27-10 score.
Yeah, two things, man. I like all the stuff that you just said. Two things that really stand out to me when it comes to evaluating the Minnesota Vikings. Just in terms of just looking ahead a little bit, just a little bit. I look at what Aaron Jones said at the end of last week's game. And just think about who this is coming from. Aaron Jones said, I've been around a lot of great teams. And I'm paraphrasing here. He said, I've never been around anything like this. This is special. Now, you think about some of the teams that Aaron Jones has been on, and I don't think he was getting caught up in the emotion. I think that was a sincere feeling that he had being around this team every day in the locker room, practices, and then playing. That means a lot coming from a player like that. This is not a young buck, rookie, or somebody just making a statement. This is Aaron Jones, who really is careful with what he says out in the public media. He said this is special. Then when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, usually, Pat, when we've had really, really good teams throughout the years, whether it was, the Randall Cunningham team, the Case Keenum team, what have you, there has always been that team out there, no matter how good we were, that was supposedly better than us. Whether it was the Eagles, whether it was San Francisco 49ers. You look at the AFC right now, it doesn't really matter how good you are. You've got to go through the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at the landscape of the NFC right now, who's scary? Like, who's scary? I mean, there's some good teams out there, Pat, don't get me wrong. But there isn't that team out there where you say, okay, we're having a good season, but we're going to have to go through this team to be able to get there. So a lot of people have been hitting me with, well, are we that team? Are we that team? And I'm saying we could be. We're showing glimpses of that right now. And what's more impressive with that is we aren't even at full strength. In a few weeks here, God forbid something happens to somebody else on the team in terms of injury, we're about to be at full strength, Pat. And that's a scary thought. So those are two things that just really stand out to me, man. To really support people that think the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl. There is a path, and it seems like the Vikings are heading down the right path, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, they are heading down it. If you said, if you was to ask anybody when you talk about sample size, if it's a 3-week sample, if it's the preseason, if it's the off season into training camp through the preseason to the first 3 games, number one, culture, chemistry, depth, coaching, personnel, right? All those things right there, and fan base, right? All those things right there. If you're looking at it and we're stopping at week 3, we are the team to go through, right? If you just going off of that, you're saying, okay, they've beaten 2 damn good teams that can be in the NFC or AFC championship game.
Right.
And
Yep.
they pretty much dominated the whole game, right? In those games, right? Their defense is only giving up 10 points a game on average, right? But their offense is one of the top 3 offenses in the league right now, right? Yeah, right. It's us that you got to go through, but I don't want to be in that space right now,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that you guys as fans can't be in that space. I'm just saying the space that I want to be is I don't want to look too far ahead because it's a long season and we've seen some crazy stuff happen.
Yeah.
But it's, to sit there and think about whatever, it's like that's the human nature of things. But I can honestly say, Coach, that last week on the podcast afterwards, I got the schedule jumbled up. Like, I'm not looking ahead. I'm really not. I haven't relooked at who we're playing on the schedule. Some of the games I remember, just because we're playing like the AFC South. So I remember we're playing that division, and that's the only division that I remember we're playing. I know we got to be playing another division, but I can't remember it. They were playing the full division. So maybe the West, the NFC West, maybe with Seattle, the Rams in Arizona. I think we're playing them. But like right now, honestly, Coach, I'm trying to enjoy it and live in this moment because it feels good to just be in the moment right now with them. Like, Coach, think about it. Doesn't it feel good to be in the moment though with them right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, absolutely. Especially going through the season that we had last year, man. That was tough. And to see them have some success right now, man, it's a lot of fun. You got the casual fan. You got the casual fan that's looking forward to games on Sunday to watch the Minnesota Vikings. That's when you know you're doing something. Your diehards are going to be there whether you win or lose. But you're starting to get the casual fans in there wanting to watch the games. And I'm going to tell you this, Pat. See, you are a humble person. Patrick Buchanan doesn't like the light shining on him. He's a humble person. I'm going to say this. When I use the term sports guru, the sports guru of Minnesota, I don't use that term slightly. Like that was not just a title that I threw upon you. You were in the minority in terms of people, because I heard a lot of people talk. I watch podcasts, I watch all the talk shows. There was nobody that I heard that was picking the Vikings to do anything before the season started. There was only one person. There was only one. If you peers, if you want to go back and watch the season prediction show, you picked the Vikings to be dominant on defense, and you said that this team would roll with the defense. Not only did you say that, but you picked the Vikings to have double-digit wins. So I give you a lot of credit because there was a lot of question marks on this team. Defensively, we didn't know who we were going to have in the secondary. We're trying to find, some interior defensive players. Then we had a question mark with Sam Darnold at quarterback. J.J. McCarthy went down for the surgery. But you were steadfast. You were like, I just believe this team can accomplish some things. You got B-Flow on the other side of the ball, who you think, could be a really, really good head coach. I just give you a lot of credit, man, because I listen to a lot of sports talk, a lot of it. And to hear what other people are saying about our team. And I didn't hear anybody give this team a chance to win really more than 5 games. I mean, Vegas set the line at 6.5. So nobody expected the Vikings to do nothing, man. So I give you a lot of credit in that respect.
I appreciate it, Coach. I was just looking at a lot of things, right? I went to, 2 years removed from the division. I went to everything we went through last year to get 7 wins, and then the consistency of having your defense coordinator back and then filling those gaps that they filled there, but also the Aaron Jones and a running game really made me talk about this. And then the thing that you and I both know about, when you go to a new place, 3 to 5 years is when you start to put your stamp on it. He was coming in year 3, and I know what the culture was like, and I watched what happened through, Kyrie Jackson and Blackman, and how they worked through how they even worked to support Addison, through his his trials and tribulations in life. So it was just a lot of things, and it was quiet, and it wasn't messy, and that's great PR. You had like CeeDee Lamb sit out, and Ayuk and Chase. And I said, well, they put the leadership on this team on their best player, which is Justin Jefferson. And I think he handled last year and this year off season like a professional, compared to the other ones. And the other ones that didn't handle right, look at all their records. None of those teams right now have a winning record in the first 3 games with the Ayuks, the CeeDee Lambs, the Chases, right? And the Vikings are the only one. Like, so I was looking at a lot of different factors, Coach, when I did this, right?
Yep.
And I did my projection and doing my research, and texting certain people over in TCO Stadium, just asking how the vibe in the building and things like that. So there was a lot of different things that I was going after it. And you asked me to do one thing. You asked me to set aside the fan in me and set aside the reality. And that was the one thing I did, and it was set it aside. And right now, like I said, the fan in me, I'm trying not to bring here, but the fan in me, when we close this down, right, the fan in me is there. Like, I'm going to just be honest, right? Like, I kind of, like, I want to celebrate with y'all, but I don't want to get too much, right, or whatever, and that's just me. Maybe it might change mid-season or something, right? We're in week 9, and the Vikings, got 7-2 or whatever, and it might be like, Vegas, keep the underdog play. We done hit the 6.5 already. What's next? So you never know when it might come, but I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying doing this with you, Coach, right? That's what I'm really enjoying, doing it with you, and to be able to watch. I mean, I think Aaron Jones said it best. It is special. It is special to watch that, right? It is special. And it's special that they're starting to get a little, like, this is so funny. We're only getting a little bit of recognition, Coach, still. You know that, right?
Yep.
It's a little bit. Remember after last week's show, right? After the live show, I said, we will be the topic of conversation, but after the Cowboys, the Chiefs, right? But they went Cowboys, Chiefs, and then they played us and the Steelers together, right? As that next thing, just because of what they're doing and what we're doing, which is more impressive, which defense, like, you got the best 2 defenses right there, right?
Yeah.
And you got 2 freaking great coaches right there. So, so two great organizations, right? First class, or like the Wolves are showing we're a first class organization.
Absolutely.
And we already know the Steelers are a first class organization, without a doubt. But the Wolves are, like, this is becoming more and more of a value team, just because they're owners that are doing it the right way, and loyalty. I think the offseason, they showed a lot of loyalty to their guys that they needed to have loyalty to, of making sure that certain extensions happen. Phillips getting his, but, like, people are so worried about Kwesi's and KOC's extension, man. I still think they're being loyal, and I get what everyone says, and they want them to lock them up, but I just, the extension will come when the time is right, and I don't think they're going anywhere. I just think they're doing what they need to do as owners right now. I don't think they're saying we don't think they've done a good job. I just think that they're trying to set a certain precedent, like, of this is how we're going to do stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I look at you talk about the ride, man. You're just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. And that's a great statement, because I feel like, this is why we are involved in sports. This is why we coach. This is why we play. I always say, people that, grew up in life and couldn't participate in sports, man, you're just really missing something, because there's just a lot of hard work. Even if you don't get to the highest level of your particular sport that you play, there's just a lot of grind and a lot of emotion that just goes into it. Again, I mentioned the Northern Illinois coach when he beat Notre Dame, just to see that emotion after the game, I remember a few years ago at the university where I work, our men's basketball coach there has been there for 25, 26 years. Had never had an opportunity to win a conference championship. A few years ago, he wins a conference championship. And, this guy is one of the most hard-nosed guys that you could ever find in terms of a coach and coach basketball. Just let down and showed a lot of emotion. All that hard work came into that emotion. And then I look at one of my favorite things to watch, Pat, and I don't know how much you watch the Kevin O'Connell locker room talks after the games.
Every one of them. Love
yes. Here's what's really great about that. He's got the attention of the room. And he's really good at these post-game talks. I know we don't need to be in their locker room after a loss, but I wish I could be there after a loss because I probably could learn something as a coach from KOC, how he addresses his team after some losses. But the one thing that I've really enjoyed is watching Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has gotten a couple of game balls now. And I don't know if you remember his first game ball, just the tears. Like you could see him holding back tears when his teammates was clapping for him, slapping him on the head. KOC gave him the game ball. You talking about a quarterback that for arguably his first 4 years in this league, everybody called him trash. And now he gets to the point where he's with a feel-good organization. Everything is perfect. If we had Sam Darnold on this podcast, he probably wouldn't come out loud and say it publicly. But when we turn the cameras off, I'm sure he would say, man, everything is just perfect here compared to where I've been. I got the perfect coaching staff. I got the perfect teammates. I've learned a lot. They're putting me in situations where I can succeed. Man, I'm just happy to see some of those emotional things. And, this is why we enjoy sports. And I'm just seeing a lot of that from this team this year. And I think that's what Aaron Jones meant where, there's just something special happening here. And I can't argue that, man. You can just feel it. You can just feel it, Pat.
Yeah, you can. And I just, to stay there in the locker room, there's something that I've noticed, though, and I pay attention to a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's somebody who has not got a game ball this year. You know who has not got one this year?
Let me think. Hold on. Don't tell me. Let me think. JJ.
Jets has not got a game ball.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen Jets do the stuff like CeeDee Lamb did last week.
No.
Out in it, like you haven't. I've been watching him, his press conferences, how he's speaking after every game. He's not getting 100 and some yards. He scored in every game though, but he's not getting the numbers that he's accustomed to. And I just been watching his respond. And I love it when he said Sam went down and Mullen came in and he said, like we do with Sam, made sure I did with Mullins, is I made sure he felt confident in that huddle that we got your back, right?
Yep.
And to me, that's just leadership, right? And I'm keeping an eye on him because everything's going to go as his leadership. And I think when KOC came in, and I think he has a fantastic family, but I don't think Zimmer gave him this sort of opportunity to grow. And I think the 3 years under KOC, he's really grown into a fantastic leader, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And think about it as a wide receiver to be the leader, the face of the organization. I think he's handled that to his fullest, right? I talked to someone last year at their training camp who's always with him, and and I've shared this with you before, is like, if you go to a training camp and it's autograph time, JJ line is like forever. Now, this man is exhausted. He just got done. It's hot,
Yeah.
But he does it with a smile on his face. And I was talking to the person while he was signing, and he said, you know what? It takes a lot out of him to do this, and we have been working with him. And not in the sense that he was bad, just working with him of what this means to that little person in front of you. You know what I mean? That person to stand there and wait for you to take your time to take that picture or to autograph something, what that means to them.
Yep.
And he's exhausted. And when he got done signing, coach, it's kind of like at the end of the year, right? You know how the end of basketball season, and we're like, oh my God, we're drained because his emotions, you see the drainage in him, right? But you can't tell. It's kind of like receiver where everybody knew like Jets is an alter ego of Justin Jefferson. Like Justin Jefferson is not who Jets is. That's not his real true personality. Like
Right.
he's more humble than that. That's like everyone needs an alter ego, right? I always tell my players, you can't be the same person you walking around with when you're going into competition. So this is just me just sharing like, about this young man who is like, we get to watch him grow and become mature as he has and become a man. And I just think that everything is going to flow as he allows things to continuously flow and grow.
Yeah. You and I have been coaching this game for a long time, Pat. And the one thing I've learned in all my years of coaching, especially now, I've had an opportunity to coach what they call old school players. And now we have the new modern type player, I guess, if that's the title you want to put on it. A lot of athletes now, they need a lot of stroking. And what I mean by that, they need a lot of that positive feedback. They are just emotionally needy. And that's not saying they can't lead, but when I look at Justin Jefferson, and I don't know Justin Jefferson personally, I'm an outsider looking in. But the one thing that I see from Justin Jefferson is that he doesn't seem to be emotionally needy. Like he's comfortable in his own skin. And I know people made a big deal about, on the Netflix show Receiver about where he lived. And at the time I was like, well, what's the big deal? But it is a big deal because it shows you that there's a part of him that wears the shades and the gold teeth and has that alter ego. He becomes Jets. But there's also a part of him that he's humble and he has a humble heart and he doesn't need to go out and get the biggest house or the fanciest car. He's just JJ. He's just Jets. He's Justin Jefferson. And no matter what situation you put him in, this is who he's going to be. And people that are well-rounded like that are not needy like that, are fantastic leaders. I've seen it across the board and a lot of the players that I've coached. And the common thread in great leaders is that they can get outside their skin and compete, but they also have a humble heart to be able to come in, take a teammate under their wings, support their teammates, and lead their teammates. And those are some of the best leaders around, man, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, those are. Got a young man who I've been like, we do a lot of leadership stuff when it comes to our sports, right?
Yeah.
And he's one that I've grabbed under my wing because he might be probably one of the top athletes in the entire school. But there's no arrogance to him. We got this new coach, and I was just telling everybody earlier how good our soccer team is. And, he breaks the huddle. He was like, nah, guys, we're going to break the huddle different. And, he breaks the huddle, first year coach. And he was like, conference for coach, right? And, very humble kid, great kid, right? I think if he had $1, he'd give it to somebody. He wouldn't care about it, right? He's one of them kids, and he's the reason why it believes that he can help us lead that team and then the basketball team come basketball season to great heights this year. It's just good people like that you can hang your hat on.
Yep. For sure, man. For sure. Just a lot of good things going on with this team. You and I can go on for, forever talking about individuals on this team, the coaching staff, and what the team is doing. I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait for Sunday. Number one, it's a rivalry game, and I would love to go back to work and be able to, I'm going to be humble. but I'm going to give everybody that look when I get to work on Monday and let them know that I heard everything they've been saying throughout the week, and I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to let my boys do the talking for me. Hit that like and subscribe button, UP Nation. Now we got the favorite part of the show. We got Patrick's picks coming up. Patrick, refresh our memories on how you did last week.
Last week, we were able to go 3-5. The Colts had covered. For some reason, your Browns did what they usually do. That's disappoint.
I'm sorry about that, man. I got to apologize about my Browns.
Because you echoed that pick with me, right? You was like, yep, I like that pick, right? Then the Buccaneers got big-headed and, Sean Payton put a needle in, that. But the Bills dominated the Jags, and the Commanders, like I said, and Cincinnati, what the plus 7.5, I told you that, and they just went out there and dominated. The young fella looked real good. So
yeah, he did.
So
he looked real good.
3 for 5. I can't fix, maybe I'm not going to put Tampa Bay. Whenever a team screws up like that, I'm taking them off, right? Can't pick them again.
You
right?
can't count on them.
Like I can't pick you for a while. So I was able to go through. This time we're going to knock out 2 colleges and 3 NFLs, Coach.
Okay. Well, I've got my
Lionel's lock.
Man, you know what? I won't take credit. I won't take credit for the Michigan USC game because that was not publicly stated on Unconventional Playbook. But I just want to let people know I did have that pick. And then I went with Kansas City as well. They didn't let me down. Kansas City, I think, was a 3.5, minus 3.5. They end up winning by 5. So that was a Lionel's lock. I got another good one for you. People don't want to make some money. I got another good one coming up after Patrick's pick. Patrick, talk about that first pick you got, man.
First I'm going to start in college, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to go to the second largest stadium in all of college football. And I'm going to go to Texas A&M. Minus 5.5 at home versus Arkansas.
Okay.
So I just think they're way talented. They have everything that they need, recipe to win. I love them and what they're going to be able to do in the SEC, right? That Notre Dame game was a wake-up game, and ever since then they've been fine. So I take Texas A&M. So
I like the pick. Okay, so you got Texas A&M.
My next college pick is
that's a tough team to face. Texas A&M is a team that I think is going to get better throughout the year, man. So I like that pick. What do you got for number 2?
There's a surprise team in the Big Ten, Coach. What's the surprise team in the Big Ten?
Okay.
You know what team is the surprise team in the Big Ten thus far?
Trying to see where you're going with this one. Surprise team in the Big Ten. I don't know. Illinois?
Illinois fighting the Illini. So we're going to go to Illinois fighting the Illini and Penn State, Coach. That's where we're going, okay? Now, Penn State is favored by 18 points. In this, I'm telling you to take the plus 18 with Illinois. They are playing at Penn State, right? Penn State is, I believe, is top 6, 7, 8 team in the country, right? I think they're fantastic. It's tough to go over there in Happy Valley and play. Like, it's tough, right? But I believe the Illinois fighting the Illini can go in there and not get blown out by 18 points. I believe they're going to compete enough with them. Penn State does have sometimes a drought here and there. I think they're clicking on us. I think the defense just, oh my goodness. Penn State's always got a fantastic defense. But I think Illinois is able to go in there. They have a really great quarterback over there. I just think that they're able to go over there and not get dominated by 18 points.
Great pick. My only question to you is this, because I haven't seen the time. Is this a day game or a night game?
This is a day game.
Okay.
I believe
I like that pick.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is a day game.
I like that pick because Brett Bielema can coach. The Wisconsin Badgers.
It's 6:30 p.m. on NBC.
Okay. Because Brett Bielema can coach. When he was with the Badgers, I thought, other than Barry Alvarez, he was one of the best coaches the Badgers ever had in football. He left the Badgers to go to the SEC to coach Arkansas, which was a mistake. He should have stayed with the Badgers. And now he's taking over that Illinois team, and he has an NFL coaching staff. I mean, he has people that can coach defense. So it's going to be hard, no matter who you are, it's going to be hard to score on the Illini. So that's why I love that pick, because if they got Penn State at 18.5, I support that pick. I look for the Illini to cover that, man. I mean, I don't see that game as a blowout whatsoever.
Yeah, not so ever. So
All right.
those are my 2 college picks. So
Okay.
let's head to Sunday, right?
Let's do it, man.
So I got one Sunday pick. So Sunday, they are back home. They are no longer in Minneapolis. The Houston Texans will host the Jacksonville Jaguars, who is just a mess. I've been hearing them talk about how Bill Belichick going to be the next, going to replace Doug. Like, Doug he can only be a place for a couple of years, and then, he's done. So -6 Texans at home. That defense that we saw is going to be smothering. And I think that C.J. Stroud, they don't have enough defensively to do what we did to them. Their offensive line is not great, and Trevor Lawrence does not look like a $250 million quarterback. Texans win this game quite handily because I don't think that Jacksonville is able to fix their problems in that 1 week.
Who's home? Is
Houston? Houston.
Houston's at home. Yeah. See, that's a get right game for Houston. I would be shocked. And anything can happen in the NFL.
Yep.
But I would be shocked if Houston came off an ass whooping like the Vikings gave them and went home and laid an egg against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Great pick. I like that pick.
Yeah.
What else you got?
We're headed to Monday night. Monday night again. There's 2 games on Monday night.
Okay.
I'm 2 for 2 on Monday night, so I might as well stay with Monday Night Football, right?
I hear that.
So you got the Dolphins versus the Titans. The Dolphins are at home. They're playing Tennessee. They're favored by 1 point. Take them. Here is the reason why I choose the Dolphins. I would not choose the Dolphins if they were not going to start Huntley. They are going to start Huntley. Huntley is the best option. I think Huntley is one of the best backup quarterbacks. He probably can start over a lot of quarterbacks.
Yep.
Like, that's who Tennessee probably should have went and got. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that shouldn't be in the league starting. Huntley is fantastic. Yeah, he did a fantastic job when Lamar Jackson was able to go down, and he served well for Baltimore. I think this is a resurgence. It helps the offense resurge. He can throw the ball downfield. What's his name? What's the coach name again at Miami? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank.
I can't remember.
So I believe they draw up some stuff. Huntley's going to get him some stuff on the ground, and he's going to sling the ball because he's got a pretty strong arm, and he can throw it downfield. So I take the Dolphins in this game at home over the Titans.
Okay, good pick. I can see that one too. I can see that one. All right, go ahead.
So Seattle's undefeated, man. I don't think you're undefeated anymore after this game. You're going to go into Detroit. Detroit's 3.5. Detroit, they lost their cornerback for the year, but Detroit in the Dome is going to be tough. They're still relevant. I don't think they're the division champs this year after looking at everything thus far. But I think that they are able to cover that 3.5 points versus Seattle. Seattle has a very stout defense, and Seattle can run the hell out of the football.
Yep.
But I think that Detroit becomes a little bit just too much for them. Still 1-score game. They walk out winning this game by the 4 or 5 points, though. But they'll cover the 3.5.
Okay. Like that pick as well. How confident are you in that pick, Pat?
If Jared Goff throws the football, here's the thing: Armand St. Brown has not been Armand St. Brown yet, right?
Right.
But man, Gibbs gets in the end zone every time. Montgomery and Gibbs are special back there, and I think this is them getting back home. And Jared Goff, right? He got paid too, so another one of them paid quarterbacks just not looking fantastic. But I do believe that I'm confident enough in that pick right there. Out of all 5 of my picks, the only one that I'm worried because I've seen Penn State play. Is that it's because they're in Happy Valley, right? That they
Yeah.
just dominate. That's the only one I'm scared about in all of them. But I still do believe in the Illinois, but not to beat them. But that's the only one out of all 5 picks that worries me. But I like taking the odds in certain things like that. Taking the underdog every week. I'm gonna take an underdog somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me in that, and I think I've hit on all my underdogs.
Okay. Is that 4 or 5?
That's 5.
All right. So who do you got? Rehash it one more time.
Texas A&M 5.5 over
Yep.
Arkansas. Illinois plus 18 versus Penn State. Houston Texans -6 versus Jaguars. Dolphins -1 versus the Titans, and the Detroit Lions -3.5 versus the Seahawks.
Great pick. I can't argue with any of those. I just jotted all that down, so I will make sure to put that on the ticket this weekend. Great picks. I'm going to stick with the college game, Pat, for my Lionel's lock. I'm gonna stick with the college game.
I'm writing
And
it
I'm going to
down
go out on
because
a
Lionel's
limb.
Locks is 3 for 3.
I'm going to give UP Nation a chance to parlay this because I think this is a Lionel's parlay lock.
Okay.
All right.
Wait,
you wanna do
Coach,
some more.
please tell me these games ain't at noon because I won't get down. Like, I'm going to have to call my brother, but I'm not going to get down to Iowa until about 12:30.
Man, I don't know the time of game, but the first game I'm going to talk about, it says it's at 3:30
Okay.
Eastern time, so 2:30 our time.
I'm good.
I'm looking at Western Michigan and Marshall. Now, I had a chance to watch Marshall last week against Ohio State. And for those of you that didn't get an opportunity to watch that game, the score was very misleading. Very misleading. What I saw is a Marshall team with a lot of fight, really good concepts, and just well coached. Ohio State was just too much for them. Ohio State is one of the best teams in the country. Talent-wise, Ohio State was too much for them. But if you really watch that game, just the intangibles of it, the schemes, it was a battle of schemes. And I thought Marshall really impressed. Marshall is favored by 3.5. Marshall is at home after getting the butt whooping at Ohio State. They got some dogs on that team. I'm taking Marshall. Land the points, 3.5. Marshall's going to win that game by double digits. I am super confident in that pick. That is one. Then this one hurts my heart. This one hurts my heart because I got my
I know
Gophers.
what you're doing, Coach. I know what you're doing. You know why I know what you're doing? You going to Ann Arbor. You going to Ann Arbor, Coach.
Man, my Gophers.
I knew it.
My Gophers are playing that team up north. They're playing that team up north, and it hurts my heart because I'm a big PJ Fleck guy. I like PJ Fleck. I think sometimes people are a little bit hard on him, but for the most part, he's kept this program stable. I know that Michigan is favored by, I think, 10.5.
It was 9 last I looked at it. Did it go up? 10
that's
last
even
time.
better. That's even better. If it's dropped down to 9, I'm trying to find it right here.
I got it at 10 right now.
It's 10 right now?
It's 10.
Listen. There is no way that the Gophers are going to be able to consistently score on that Michigan defense. And that Michigan team is physical. They get downhill fast in the running game. Now they've added another dimension to their offense where they have a running quarterback.
Yeah.
They've got to run. I don't see how the Gophers stay in that game, Pat. I just don't see how they stay in that game. This is another Lionel's lock. I think Michigan gives it to the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday. So you can put those two games together, Marshall and Michigan, to cover the spread in their games. Now, my third one. This is a rivalry game. And if this was hoops, this would be a big-time game, sold out. I'm talking about Duke and North Carolina. North Carolina is on their third-string quarterback. Brad Johnson's son started the season as the first-string quarterback. He got hurt when they played the Gophers first game of the season. Their defense is like Swiss cheese. James Madison put up 70 on them last week. And now they're playing Duke at Duke. And Duke is a very stout football team. Duke right now is favored by 2.5. The line is showing me right now. I'm taking Duke in that game. So that's a lock. You can book that one. So it's Duke, the team up north, Duke, the team up north, and we are Marshall. Parlay those three together, you're going to bring home some money this weekend. That's Lionel's locks. You can book it.
All right, I'm booking it. I ain't going to tell everybody how much I'm putting on it, but it is 3 digits. So I'm putting on. You going to
share a little bit, Pat? Hey, if you win, you going to share a little bit?
Oh, for sure. I got you, man. But I'm putting 3 digits on it, right? I'm not going 4, but I'm going to put 3 digits out there for that. So, I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm going to, being able to take my trip and then I'm gonna do something crazy too. But yeah, I'm gonna have some fun. But hey, everybody out there, it is not what you do with your money is on you. We are not telling you to go out and gamble at your own risk. This is just something out there. If you happen to be just driving by and you stop in and you decide or pick up your phone and your app and you decided to make a pick, here's some things to think about. That's all.
Yes. Please gamble responsibly. Pay your bills. And if you have money left over, you can do what you want with it. Pat, anything you want to say to UP Nation before we get out of here, man?
Nah, UP Nation, man, it's great being with you. Always love seeing you, man. Enjoy the game. Don't get up here. Don't get down here. Just enjoy every play, every moment of watching them play out there.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna tell UP Nation this. As I mentioned earlier, it's a pleasure doing this show with Pat. It's been a blast. There's a lot of new things coming up for UP Nation. We're not gonna talk about it right now, but a lot of good things coming up within the next couple of weeks for us. You're gonna see some changes. But it's really going to be some good changes. We want to take our show to the next level. So I'm really, really excited about that. Pat and I are still going to be on here doing our thing, but we're just going to add some pieces to an already good show. We're good, but we want to make it great. There's a lot of great podcasts out there, so we just want to keep up with the great podcasts out there. But we appreciate all the love and support that we've gotten so far. On behalf of my guy, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, the sports guru of Minnesota, and myself, Lionel Jones, we will make sure to see you when we see you. Latre, take us home, brother.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?